What's up, guys? Welcome to our first video. I wanted to kick things off with just a simple how to get into running video for those people that are new to running or who want to get back into it, who've been out of the sport for a long time or been injured and are just now getting back into it. One of the first things I'd say is the most important thing to do when you're getting back into running or starting out is to go ahead and throw out any kind of expectations. So if you have this goal of yours, a lot of people will say you need a goal in order to chase it. And this is true. Like, that definitely helps to have a goal to help motivate you. But in the very beginning, right when you're starting, it's best not to have a goal such as a time for a race, and best to have a goal that's something a little bit quicker to obtain. And it's all about goal setting, having smaller goals to reach. So let's just go ahead and say you want to run a 15-minute 5K on the track or something like that, but you don't know how long that's going to take you. I'm a firm believer in anybody can do anything. It's just a matter of how willing you are to commit, how long it's going to take you to get there. Instead of having that goal immediately and going, okay, this is the game plan to get there, if you're starting out, I suggest making a goal that's more along the lines of, okay, this week I'm going to run 30 miles. Next week I'm going to run 40 miles. A month from now, I'm going to be averaging 50 miles a week. Something like that. Now, if you're just getting into running, not come back from injury, I would not recommend 50 miles a week in the time frame of a month. We're talking more like 4 or 5 months. So first thing you want to do, throw out all expectations of these high achieving goals and try to structure a more obtainable system of goals that will work towards that larger goal. It's going to help you stay motivated because it's incredibly hard to put in those miles day after day, week after week, month after month, and then not achieve that goal that was, to be honest, kind of trying to reach the moon before you even learned how to leave the Earth's atmosphere, if that makes sense. The second thing you want to do is you want to learn your current fitness. So a lot of people that get into running, they don't know what their current fitness level is. That not only makes it difficult to create a goal that is achievable, but it also makes it very difficult to train. So for example, my own personal fitness level currently is dramatically different than it was, say, 6 months ago. So when I go out to go run on an easy run, if I'm going off a pace, it might not be very accurate, not a very good representation of my own current fitness level. So say 7-minute miles was easy pace 6 months ago. Right now, that might be bordering, not threshold, but definitely certainly not within easy pace zoning. So it would be gray area zoning is what they call it, the gray zone, which is where you're running a bit too fast for the benefits of an easy run to actually take place in the body, which are those smaller, less noticeable, but at the end of the day, at the end of the training block, are what give you that performance that you're looking for, the endurance aspects of things. So just running too fast is the problem with not knowing your fitness level. I'm a firm believer in heart rate training and using time instead of miles because using a heart rate monitor is going to give you a much more accurate representation of what your current fitness level is, not only now, like as a whole, but day to day. So if you're not sleeping very well and you're not recovering very well, your heart rate will indicate that, because what might have been an easy pace last week, and you've been doing workouts, so you're getting fitter, but today you're not as fit as you were yesterday because you had a workout yesterday. You're just not. Your body's kind of still repairing itself and has been broken down a little bit, and that heart rate is going to cue you into that. So instead of 7-minute to 7:30 mile pace being, 150, 140 BPM, beats per minute, you're looking at 150, 160. And you would never know that just going off a pace. That's why I'm a huge proponent to heart rate monitors. I think even if it's just your wrist on a Garmin, it's going to definitely give you a benefit and an advantage to training. is absolutely worth the investment if you can do so. The other reason I go off of the heart rate and time is, especially if you don't have a heart rate monitor, going off of time does something psychologically. It kind of governs yourself. So if you're feeling really good and fresh and like you can just go ahead and rock it on your run and get it over with, say you have a 5-mile run, well, you're more inclined to go ahead and run faster to get it over with, be done with the run, especially if you're a busy person, you got a lot going on in your life and you're really like fitting in these runs. You're more inclined to go ahead and speed up and get it done with, versus if you were to go run, say, 40 minutes, it doesn't matter how fast you're running, you're still going to be running for 40 minutes. And ultimately, your body doesn't really know how far it went. It knows how long it went. So that's why I don't like the mileage-based runs. It's okay to do it on, like, say, a tempo run or a workout where, you almost want that variable in your head, on your mind, like, okay, I only have 10 miles to go at this pace, and it help get you through there, especially if you're trying to hit specific numbers and paces, then it's beneficial. But for easy runs and every other run of the week, time and heart rate. So 40 minutes at 150 BPM or 140 to 150, that's a good easy day. Don't want to go only 6 miles at 720 pace. Even if that's an easy pace, typically it might be different today. Maybe you're not as fueled. So that's the biggest reason I like that. The other thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have good gear to run in. A lot of new people that get into running, and it's partially true, think about it as being like the cheapest sport that you could get into. All you need is a pair of running shoes. I'll go ahead and tell you, running shoes cost anywhere from $100 to $150 for a good pair. They will last you about 400 miles before you want to retire them. I wouldn't call that cheap, especially once you get into doing like high mileage programs where you're running 70, 80, 90, 100 miles a week. You're going through a pair of shoes every month or every 2 months. That can be a little expensive, and a lot of people don't know that. But when you're first starting out, invest in a good pair of running shoes, because $130, it sounds like a lot for a pair of shoes, but your running shoes are going to be the foundation of all your training. Without a good pair of running shoes, you're going to run into lots of problems, especially if you're training on asphalt, which most people are. If you're not training on the dirt, you need a good pair of shoes. And I don't just mean go pick up, what you saw such and such wear. I'm not talking go buy Vaporflies and carbon-plated shoes. Don't look into any of that stuff. Don't look at any super shoes. Just get you a pair of basic trainers, something like an Asics Cumulus, Hoka Clifton, anything by Brooks Ghost, stuff like that. And if you're going to asphalt and you have a heavier set, you're getting into running and need to lose weight, look for something with higher cushions so that your body's not taking as much of a beating. It's fine to have a lot of cushion. It's fine, especially in the beginning. You want that cushion so that your knees and everything is going to take a little bit less impact and allow you to continue your training and go farther without injury. Yes, you will have different people say different things. The minimalism people, oh, you run barefoot, that's the natural way of doing things. Sure. If you have been running your entire life barefoot, yeah, go for it. If you're new to running, I don't recommend it. You're probably going to get hurt and throw away a lot of progress. So it's just best to get a good pair of shoes. Go down to your local running store, like a Fleet Feet, someone like that, where they will scan your feet and get the right shoe, because there are a lot of variables for the right shoe. And that's why I don't tell anybody, go get this shoe, because your feet might be different. If you pronate, you're looking for a structured shoe. If you super pronate, there's nothing for you. Get a neutral shoe. I will tell you this, though. Every single study, there's not one study that goes against this. Every single study proves that a stability shoe versus a neutral shoe will not decrease the chances of you getting hurt. So if you pronate a lot and somebody tells you you have to be in a stability shoe, or you're going to make it worse. It's not true. Every single study shows that the shoe will not change how you run. It will not change whether you're pronate or not. All it does is prolong the life of the shoe. So if you're a heavy pronator and you're in a neutral shoe, the inside of your shoe is going to wear out quicker than the rest, and then that shoe's going to be dead because the integrity is going to be, deformed, and you're going to exacerbate that problem. But it's not going to prevent an injury. So ultimately, it's whatever's the most comfortable. If you're in a stability shoe and you pronate, it's just going to extend the life of that shoe by reinforcing the inside so it doesn't wear out as quick. So something to take note: don't let anybody talk you into a structured shoe. If it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. Get you a neutral shoe. Get you whatever feels the most comfortable, whatever that doesn't rub you the wrong way, give you blisters, and whatever can keep you going on outside. Keep on running. The other thing, other than good pair of shoes, stay away from cotton. Cotton is like the worst thing you can possibly run in. It maintains moisture. You'll chafe. They say it breathes well. It doesn't in comparison to sports clothing. You don't need to go ball out and get you, a whole closet full of running clothes. That'd be really expensive. Running clothes are expensive. Just acquire you a good pair of shorts. A couple, start there while you're running, twice a week, 3 times a week. And then as you become more and more ingrained into the running world and you run more often, just acquire another pair of shorts every few weeks until you have enough that will get you through the week. You're going to be doing laundry. A lot of guys that I know, they will, if it's a short run, they haven't sweated a whole lot, they'll take their running shorts into the shower, then rinse them out, hang them up, and then that second run in the day, they'll just wear the same ones. It might sound gross, but if you're running 10 times a week, it's impossible to keep up with that laundry. And if you're doing doubles, running once in the morning, running in again in the evening, and your morning run was only 20 minutes and your afternoon run is an hour and a half, it just makes sense to not, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I will tell you is things such as Body Glide are going to be your best friend, especially if you're doing that. If there's any kind of moisture in those shorts from the morning shower where you rinsed them off, you're going to chafe. So rock your Body Glide. Any kind of anti-chafe stuff is going to work. The other thing that I would say is almost mandatory is a way to get help if something goes wrong. If you're training alone, you need something to call for help. You got to run with a phone. I know it's annoying. They make things to carry on your arms, your waist. I just carry mine in my hand, and it's fine. You get used to it. It's a little weird in the beginning, but you get used to it. You got to have a way to call for help. Bad things happen. I'm not just talking about other people, kidnapping and assaults and stuff like that, which does happen to runners. And is one of the big reasons why you should carry a phone and possibly something else like pepper spray. If you're a woman, I definitely recommend having some sort of pepper spray if you are running alone. Always, always, always run with a person if you can. And if you're a guy, I'd still recommend carrying pepper spray or a small knife, or, it's not just people you got to worry about. There are loose stray dogs if you're out in the trails, or bear, mountain lion, crazy people. So a phone for safety, maybe pepper spray. If you carry a phone, most people will also carry music, some sort of headphone device. Only wear one. You always need an ear open to your surroundings so that you're not oblivious if something does go down. I forgot to mention the other reasons to carry a phone. Emergencies such as heat stroke, heat exhaustion, falling. I know friends who have basically fainted mid-run, like they had a seizure and hit their head really hard, and they had no way to call for help, and ended up my friend having to sprint 5 miles to go find help. And he was fine, but like that could have been a situation where somebody could have died. Or you witness something such as some other stuff going down and you need to call the police. It's just a good idea to have it. Music, headphones. one earbud on, always have your surroundings. They make new headphones called like bone induction. I've tried them myself. They're pretty sweet. They sit over your ears and they basically vibrate the bone right here, and you hear music that way, but it keeps your ears open so you can still hear everything going on. It's kind of trippy to experience it the first time, but you get really used to it real quick. I like those a lot. The only issue that I've run into with those is that it takes the spot where your sunglasses sit. So if you're someone that wears sunglasses, which I highly recommend, because it's going to help keep your face relaxed, which will then keep your neck relaxed, which then your shoulders relaxed. And then the rest, it's a chain reaction. If you kind of squinting your eyes, you're actually putting stress on your face, and it just chain reacts down. And they've done studies that show you actually use more energy and more effort not wearing shades. So that's why you see all the professionals, they're wearing shades. It's not just I'm cool, I wear sunglasses, or the sun's bright. There's actually more to it than that. Socks, you can get away with cheaper socks in the beginning. If you have blisters and problems like that, look at the shoe fit. It's typically not the sock. The other thing that a lot of new runners kind of slack on is hydration and preparing for the run, fueling, nutrition. A lot of people will kind of go throughout the whole day not drinking much water at all. Maybe they have a Red Bull or something caffeinated, coffee, soda, and one bottle of water throughout the day. If you're running in the evening, you really need to be hydrating throughout the whole day. And you need to be eating breakfast and lunch, but you need to, kind of figure out what you can eat for lunch that you can stomach on your run in the evening. Ideally, you're running in the morning, fasted, maybe a little bit of carbohydrate if you're, not trying to lose weight. But in the morning, you're typically not hydrating throughout the night. And so you just went, 6 to 8, maybe 10 hours for some of y'all without drinking any water, and you're going to be dehydrated in the morning. And then you pair that with a cup of coffee and maybe a glass of water, and then go run 10 miles. It's just not going to be very good. It's just not going to be a great run for you. So ideally, if you're running in the morning, you need to be drinking water throughout the night, which kind of translates into having to get up to use the bathroom in the night, which is annoying. But there are alternatives. So my go-to trick for morning runs that I know I need to be hydrated on, is simply drinking a lot of water the night before and throughout the night. If I can't drink too much water, maybe 16 ounces of water throughout the night, or right when I wake up, or about an hour before I wake up. It's a good little cheat code. Set your alarm for an hour before you want to wake up. Have a bottle of water on your nightstand, and as soon as that alarm hits, wake up, down that bottle, and then go back to sleep. It's going to set you up. There's also electrolyte tablets that you can take if it's one of those. If you're in a location like I am where it can be 90 degrees by 8 a.m., you can pop a couple electrolyte tablets, 30 minutes to an hour before you run, and you're going to be good. Post-run, it's the same kind of ordeal. Got to hydrate as quick as you can, get some food in you, get some protein. Don't skip the carbs. A lot of people think only protein for post-workout. You need those carbs to replace the glycogen that you lost, and then also to trigger insulin. The insulin spike that happens with carbohydrates paired with protein is super beneficial after a workout, especially if it's a harder workout. Insulin is actually one of the most anabolic hormones in the body. Fun fact. Most people think it's testosterone. It's actually insulin. Having that spike in insulin is going to help shuttle the proteins and carbohydrates into the muscle to replenish the glycogen, and the protein to go ahead and create synthesis to repair the muscle. So, they say 20 grams of protein right after the workout. Match it with 20 grams of carbs. Just go 1-to-1 with it, or even more. And try to maintain that idea moving forward with all your workouts that you need a carbohydrate. Otherwise, even if you're trying to lose weight, you need the carbohydrate. You want to build as much muscle as you can. You want to recover as fast as you can so that the next day you can burn more calories, and the next day you can grow more lean muscle mass, because The more lean muscle mass you have, the higher resting metabolic rate, which is going to actually cause you to lose weight faster. So somebody with 150 pounds of lean muscle mass, their metabolic rate is going to be a lot higher than somebody with 120 pounds of lean muscle mass. It's just how it is, because muscle requires energy to maintain, fat does not. Moving on. We've covered surfaces to run on. Ideally, you're running on dirt. It's going to give your body a break, less impactful, less impact on the knees, less impact on the back. Ideally, you're running on dirt, but if you don't have dirt, you have roads and you have high cushion shoes, thanks to the century that we live in, and brands like Hoka coming out and producing all these great models that anybody can run on asphalt with. Shorten your stride, shorten your stride, shorten your stride, shorten your stride. If you're running into knee issues, lower back problems, hip problems, shorten your stride. It's the first thing you can do, and it will be a game changer. Most people overstride when they run, thinking, it's more output of the muscle, it's more effort to create a longer stride, and therefore they're running maybe faster, or maybe it feels easier, more glide time. It's actually not a great idea, because when you're overstriding, you're creating a triangle in your body, and the heel's going to hit first, all that impact, your knee's already locked up and straight out. It's going to create impact in the knee, it's going to create impact in the lower hip and your lower back, and you're also breaking yourself before propelling forward, versus if you have your foot laying directly underneath you, things are bent, there's no direct impact, you're not stopping the motion as you would if you're running in a triangular motion overstriding, and all that energy is going to continue moving forward. So shorten your steps, shorten your steps. Biggest advice I can give new runners. Shorten your steps and slow down. That's it. That's the easiest thing you can do to make your running better. Slow down. Everybody's training in gray zone when they first start. I too have done it. It's very easy to get sucked into the gray zone because it feels good. It feels like you're putting in an effort, which in all other aspects of life, the reward is equal to the amount of effort that you give. And running, it's a little different. It's more like the amount of patience you give it is what you'll receive. So run slower so you don't get hurt, so you get those physiological adaptations that only occur at slower paces. Use those heart rates. Use a buddy. If you're having a conversation with your friend while you're running, you're in the easy zone. If you're having to take breaths between words while you're talking, you're running a little outside of that easy zone, probably the gray zone. If you can't talk while you're running without huffing and puffing, you're running way too fast for an easy day, and that is a workout day. Just how it is. As far as clothing goes, with shoes and stuff like that, I'm sorry if this is a little bit unorganized. This is my first video that I'm making for you guys. Dressing for the weather is a huge thing for new runners. I've put together kind of a chart that's worked for me, but everybody's a little different. For me, 10 to 29 degrees, I'm wearing full tights, full leg tights, sleeves, a windbreaker, a beanie, a face cover, and of course, gloves and shades. And shades in the winter help keep that dry air out of your eyes, especially if you wear contacts. It's just an added bonus to the relaxed face. 29 to 35 degrees, I'm wearing shorts, so we got rid of the tights. We're wearing sleeves, windbreaker, face cover, gloves, shades. 35 to 50, we're getting away from tights and we're going to shorts. We're going to use removable sleeves, something that can just roll off real quick. Cotton gloves, which I know I said stay away from cotton, but what I mean by that is just cheap cloth gloves, nothing that has a wind-breaking material. Your hands probably going to get warm. Mine do. Something that they're just cheap, like $5 Walmart gloves that I can ditch if I need to. 50 to 70 degrees, we're looking at shorts, no shirt weather, my favorite kind of weather, soak up that vitamin D. They tell you need almost an hour of daylight, direct daylight on your skin to get enough vitamin D. And most of the time we're wearing clothes. So you're looking at like what I'm wearing right now, I would need 4 or 5 hours to get the same amount of vitamin D. So show as much skin as you can to the great sun. Get that vitamin D. It's good for the soul. Feels good, and it's good for your health. The only other piece of advice I give new runners is to not overdo it. It's very easy to get caught up, especially when you're starting out, with the motivation and the feel-good molecules that happen when you're running. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably haven't gotten across that threshold. Running sucks. It just does. It sucks for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then you reach a certain level of aerobic fitness where it's enjoyable, and you get that happy hormone, the runner's high, and it just gets a lot easier. It becomes enjoyable. It becomes something you look forward to, and it becomes addictive. And it's very easy to overdo. And one of the best things you can do is pace yourself, not just for the day, but for the training block. So a good rule of thumb is to never increase your weekly mileage more than 10% a week. And I'm a firm believer that to take it even farther, 10% every 2 weeks. So when you increase your week, say you're running a 20-mile week, you're just starting out, we're only going to increase by 2 miles, which is not a lot. It's going to feel like nothing. That's the idea. You kind of want it to be very small little gains. And at 20 miles a week, I would consider that lower mileage. You can get away with doing a little bit more than 10%, say 15%. So take it up to like 23 miles a week, and then do that for a week, another week, and then move up again to say 27 miles a week. And then every 2 weeks we're bumping up, and by the time you hit 6 months, you're running 80, 90 miles a week. That's how it should be done, not 20 miles a week, 20 miles a week, and then, I'm going to do 50. Because those high intense jumps, yeah, you can get fit doing them, and they work, but 9 times out of 10, unless you've already run those high mileage weeks in the past and are very experienced with them, if you're new, it's not a good idea. You're going to get hurt almost every time. Maybe not that first week that you ran that 50-mile week after running nothing but 20s, but in 2 or 3 weeks, you can bet you're going to get hurt, and you're going to be on the sideline, and you're going to have to start all over again. So it's just not worth it. Be patient and take things slow. Take your running easy days slow. Take your mileage trend up very slow. It's a very long game type of sport. You really have to be thinking about where you want to be in 6 months, how to get there, and what is the most likely way of getting there without getting hurt. So that's my biggest advice for new runners. Sorry this video is so long. I'm trying to do better at condensing messages. I'm new at this. If you guys have any topics you want to cover, just drop a comment below. Let me know, and I'll try and produce a video covering that topic. Till then, peace, and